again. I'm so glad to see you back here at my quiet spaces. You know, I think we all suffer sometimes from feelings of self-worth and self-doubt, and we have trouble really believing that God loves us just as we are. It's like we have this internal measurement that we pull out when we're feeling low, a measurement that takes how we are and measures it against how we think we should be in order for God to love us. And we always come up short. It's sad, isn't it? I do the same things. There are days when I can't believe that God loves me like this, but I have to remember that God loves us as we are, warts and all. Let me give you an example. I used to love to walk along the beach, and because I used to make jewelry from shells and bits of driftwood, I used to call it going out and collecting some stock for my shelves. And I would walk along the beach, particularly looking for shells, and I called it searching for gold. I wanted the perfect shells. I wanted the beautiful shells. I wanted the shells that had a little special something, and that's what I looked for. And I remember one day I was out on the beach with my friend Chris, and as we walked along, and it was a beautiful day with a lovely sandy beach, Chris called over to me, "Have you found any gold yet?" And I said, "No, there's no gold today, just old shells." And I looked down at my feet, and there, nestled against a piece of driftwood, were a pile of little shells. They're what we call periwinkles. They look like these shells, these little tiny little shells. And some of them were brown, and some of them were gray, and there they lay. And for the first time, I had a good look at them. And as I looked at them, I realized they were beautiful colors. They weren't just brown, they were gray and silver, and they were striped and they were mottled. And as I looked at them again, I realized some were larger than others and some were minuscule. And then I picked up a few and I noticed that some were broken with little bits missing. And other ones that I looked at, they had sort of a calcium covering on them, so you could barely see the shell inside. And I'd pick up another one and it would have a whole pile of sort of junk caught inside, bits and pieces of sand stuck inside. And some of the ones I picked up would have long pieces of seaweed streaming from them. And I had a moment and I realized, you know what? We are like these little shells. Here we are, these small little shells on the beach of life. And God sees us. And He looks at us. But unlike the way I treated the little shells, looking at them and saying that they weren't worth picking up and turning into beautiful jewelry, God sees us, and in our imperfection, He loves us fully. We become gold by the grace of God. We're like those shells. A lot of us are broken by the storms and the waves of our lives. A lot of us are filled with things that we drag around with us like baggage, resentments and sorrows and pain. Some of us cover ourselves with a barrier, like that white heavy calcium that covers some of the shells, so nothing touches us and no one gets to us. Some of us are covered in seaweed with long bits stringing behind that tangle us up so we can't move anywhere and can't get anything that we want to do. And yet God knows us. And God loves us. He knows our brokenness. He knows how we hide. He knows what we have stuffed inside of us and what we've put around us, and He knows about our baggage. And God loves us fully. Isn't that an amazing thought? And that's when I began to realize that we are loved right here, right now. You are loved at this moment, no matter who you are, or what you're doing, or where you are, what your relationships are, no matter what is around you. God loves you right now, as you are. And so that's what we're going to explore this month. How to find God's love for ourselves as we are, and more importantly, how to value ourselves, to see ourselves as gold by the grace of God. So enjoy this month. It's going to be a wonderful month of revelations and aha moments. I wish for you joy.